It was New Year's Eve of 2020, and this was the second wave of the COVID pandemic. And bro, this has to be the loneliest period of my entire life. You see, between October of 2020 and like April of 2021, when the second wave of COVID was at its peak, bro, I literally did not speak to anyone. Like, yeah, sure, I played video games with my classmates and with some of my male friends, like my family friends, for example. But besides that, I had no one. Like, yeah, sure, I talked to my family from time to time, but when it came to actually having someone that would relate to me, hmm, there was just no one like that in my life. And I was getting bad grades at school, my physique wasn't really that good, which didn't really bother me at that time, but still there was that mental factor holding me back from truly enjoying life in the physical realm, of course. Like every time when I would see myself in the mirror, I would just be disappointed at myself. And yeah, it was truly demotivating me. And so, what did I put all of this negative energy into? How did I channel it into something that would give me gratification? Well, it was nothing other than Minecraft, of course. And I remember that I used to spend so much time on servers like Hypixel, just playing random mini games like Bed Wars, Sky Wars, and whilst I was not even that good at them, I was just playing it just because. Because whenever I would get that feeling, when I would win that match, that literally made my entire day. It was a nice little break from reality, from the teachers that were yelling at us during the online lessons, from the friends that were yelling at me whilst we were playing CSGO, from the constant stress that was happening outside constantly. And yeah, and in the middle of all of this, I had one really good friend of mine, or at least I thought so at that time, with whom I really liked playing video games with him. Like, we weren't authentically aligned to each other. Like, we both didn't have old souls, we didn't like to talk about general knowledge, we just liked to have fun together. And for a moment, he was even closer with me than any of my other male classmates, which was truly something to say. Now that I look back, he wasn't really the best of friends, but he was the best one at that time. I mean, I could talk about anything with him, and he would listen, and he would respond with something like, "Oh yeah? Whoa, that's crazy." But, of course, we will talk about other stuff than just random life stories. And so yeah, we mostly just played CSGO together, but he once even convinced me to play Fortnite. And I just thought to myself, wouldn't it be crazy if we had a Minecraft server together? Like our own survival world that we will both try hard on a daily basis. And so I eventually convinced him to buy Minecraft. And I actually created a server and we started playing on it. And man, in the beginning, it was a lot of fun. We built a house together, we built farms, we explored villages, we went to the nether, and after like the first week of playing on it consistently, he one day went AFK, but was on the server, of course. And he got blown up by a creeper whilst he was AFK, and all of his stuff disappeared forever. And keep in mind, this was like the hard art stuff that he was working for hours on end. I'm talking about like diamond gear and stuff like that. And so, of course, he was really agitated by it. But I told him something that would change the course of that entire server's history forever. I told him that it's okay. You don't need to log in anymore. I'll just tell you whenever I get your stuff back for you. And the next couple of weeks were the most grindy period that I've ever spent on a Minecraft server. Like, dude, the amount of work that I put into that shit, it was just incredible. I spent like 5 hours every single day just gathering resources, enchanting, and just improving his gear. And then one day, after like a month full of work, I got him the best stuff that he could ever think about. It wasn't netherite gear, but it was full diamond gear, so he had nothing to complain about. And what happened after was that he eventually started falling out from the server. Like, keep in mind, he still logged in from time to time, but it wasn't as frequent as in the early days. And meanwhile, me, I continued to tryhard it every single day. I built villager farms so that we would have an infinite supply of enchanting books. I expanded our farms. I mined more diamonds. I explored the nether more thoroughly. I went more and more often into the end. I created this Enderman farm in the end so that we would gather XP more efficiently. And yeah, it was a lot of fucking work. But he still wasn't showing up as frequently as before. Like, yeah, sure, he had so many other friends in his like hometown, and plus we lived like 20 kilometers away from each other, so there's no way that he would care more about me than those people in his hometown, of course. And plus, he was a huge extrovert, so yeah, of course, he didn't have time for some introvert that was tryharding on their Minecraft server. But at that time, I didn't think of it like this. And yeah, sure, it is also in his like reputation and in his personality to basically be like this distant guy that will ignore you, he will play with your feelings, and whenever you would ask about something from him, he would just say that, "Oh, I don't know." And when I called him on Messenger once, and I told him that, okay, you could have just said that earlier, because by that point, I've been calling for him for the past like 2 hours to log in on the server because I really wanted to play with him. He wasn't picking up. And when I told him to turn on the notifications so that he would at least message me back to say that, oh no, TR, I'm not logging in today, sorry. I have something else to do. Just that alone would be enough. And he wasn't even saying anything. He was just completely ignoring me most of the time. He didn't even care about to just say stuff like, sorry, I have better things to do. He didn't even care to say that. And so I would spend like 3 hours every single day working on that server, working for him so that I would get some sense of social gratification. And you know how when you look into the Minecraft statistics of your survival world and you can see like the playtime, I remember that I had like 4 days, which is 96 hours. And he had only one day, which was like 24 hours. So when you look at that ratio of how we played on that server, you can just say that it was a one sided relationship. And I know that you may be thinking stuff like, TR, why didn't you just see this sooner? Well, my friend, he was playing with my feelings. And this wasn't like a period of months. No, this was a period of only like 2 months at most. That server lasted for no more than like 8 weeks at most. This is an really short period that we're talking about right now. And he was like really hyping me up in the messenger messages, saying stuff like, don't worry, TR, when I get home, we will play for hours on end. And he was hyping me up like this, like once every week, and then he would not respond for like days at most. And whenever I would try to call him, he would say stuff like, oh, I just woke up. Oh, I'm outside. Oh, you can just play without me. And eventually, I snapped. I had been putting so much effort into this shit, and he didn't even care about showing up. And so, one day, after he messaged me stuff like this, I banged my desk like, dude, and I literally yelled fuck at the top of my lungs. It was the biggest unleashment of rage that I've ever felt in my entire life. That I went downstairs to the kitchen where my parents heard me and they asked me, what happened? And I was like, oh, it was him once again. And my dad was like, did you really just bash your desk and yell like that just because of him? Now keep in mind, our dad was the reason why we knew each other because His dad and my dad are still close friends, but they used to be really great friends in the past. And so we would go on vacations together, and that's how I met him. But on that day, I got a huge seed implanted inside of my head that would truly help me in the future during my self improvement journey. And that was the fact that you should never force anything. You should never try to change anyone. You should never ever care about trying to actually move someone and change their opinions, to change their lifestyles. That is a huge fucking waste of energy. I spent 2 months trying to change him. I spent like so many hours trying to convince him to log in. I spent so much hours of my valuable time that I could have spent studying or researching more about my mental health, for example, that I put into that Minecraft server so that he would show up. And keep in mind, he wasn't like this dumbass. We would actually have like fulfilling conversations once he would actually show up. It was just that he was so distant that he would barely even show up. Just remember that ratio of 1 to 4 hours that we spent on that server. I spent 2 fucking months trying to convince him to be more active on the server. And yeah, sure, he was an extrovert, he had other people in his hometown, but he could have at least said fucking something to me. I would have been completely fine if he just said, I don't care about the server anymore, you don't have to play on it anymore. That would have been even better than to literally play with my feelings for months and wasting almost 100 of my hours on a server that half of the time I was the only person playing on it. That literally I spent 4 times the hours playing on it. And I spent so much of my energy, so much of my discipline, so much of my focus, so much of my willpower, literally building and forging something great on that server. I built farms, I built our house, I mined for resources, and yeah, once I actually wanted to feel that delayed gratification of the pointless compliments that he would give me, or something like, "Oh, TR, you're a god," he just wouldn't show up. And that would be the most disappointing part out of it all. I literally poured my heart, my tears, and my soul and my blood into this server. Now that I look back on it, I was just trying to please him. I was working for hours on this server, trying to give him the best gear, trying to build all of these farms so that he wouldn't have to do the work himself. And yeah, I was just doing it for him so that he would get the sense of delayed gratification without even playing on the server. And so you must remember this. You should never try to please anyone. You should never try to prioritize anyone above you, even if they give you so much value, like even if they have the most fulfilling conversations with you, even if it is literally your soulmate, for example, like the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with them. You should never put them above you. Like, yeah, sure, you still need to act nice towards them, but if you want to be happy and fulfilled, you need to always prioritize yourself and your purpose in life, your meaning. You know, I was so needy to this person. Like, now that I think about it, if I had just prioritized my purpose in life, which I had no idea was teaching at that time, and I was actually learning about mental health, which was a topic that really piqued my interest at that time, and is the main reason why I am a mental health YouTuber in the first place, then maybe, like, yeah, sure, it would still take him a fuck ton of time to actually message me back, but the times that we would actually spend on that server would be more fulfilling, and I would have had way less memories of me just grinding alone for hours on end. Like, you know how on your keyboard you have the tab key, like when you're on a multiplayer server and you press tab and you can see all of the players' names. Do you know how fucking sad that felt when I would press the tab key and there would be no one but me? Yeah, that was the most loneliest feeling out of the entire COVID pandemic. And you would especially really feel it after putting like 4 hours into that server, like in a day. Those were the worst moments out of the entire day, out of the entire COVID pandemic. In a man's life, this is what he should prioritize on a daily basis. So at first, it is his fulfillment, his purpose in life. Then it is wealth and finances. And thirdly, there's relationships. And back then, it used to be like this for me. Which, yeah, if you're needy for something, like for money and for women, you're gonna repel it eventually, and it's gonna get disgusted by it. So yeah, you should never prioritize anyone above yourself as a man. Always think to yourself, how will this person benefit me? I know that it may seem manipulative, but it actually works, and it will get you respect from the people around you, okay? So remember to always act nice towards everyone. You want to have a nice reputation with them, so give them small gestures like shake their hand, compliment them if they do something nice, with a genuine passion, of course, with your eyes and with your feelings. Like smile at them just to, make them feel nice, but don't get them too close to you, okay? Because otherwise, they will leverage you, just like how that person did during the COVID pandemic. And then you would spend so much of your time just running in circles, trying to pleasure them, trying to pleasure someone that wasn't even giving you that value back in the form of spending time with you. If you want to be part of a community where we discuss our mental health and full of like minded men who share the same values as you, the same likes and dislikes, the same goals as you, who are becoming the best version of themselves every single day, and who will be in a state of healthy competition with you, but at the same time, they will be like your blood bonded brothers, with whom you can talk about your most embarrassing problems with, then you can join our Discord clan in the description. If you're watching videos like these and willing to take action, then I know that you have way more potential than you think you have. You literally have the skill of taking action, which many people in this modern world lack. I know that you'll find your place in there, so please join us on the path to greatness and stop being held back by your surroundings. But besides that, you can like the video, you can subscribe if you like, join the email list in the description, and get yourself a free ebook about mindfulness. Comment on which part of the video you liked the most, and which part of the video you will implement into your daily life. Don't forget to join the clan, you're still invited, and become a part of the family. And with that being said, thank you very much for watching this video, and remember, no one is better at being you